Hey, what's up everyone? John Diggle here for thevideoforge.net, and welcome to our first episodic series, also viewed on YouTube. Here at the Video Forge, I show you what it's like to take VFX to a whole new cinematic level. VFX you see in movies today are just remarkable. You sit there and you watch movies that include CGI, green and blue screen, and you tell yourself, that's what I want to do when I grow up. No, seriously, in retrospect, if you want to build amazing integrated visuals just like that, well, that's where the Video Forge come in. Here to show you the tips and tricks to getting you one step closer to making your film stand out. But be warned, these tutorials may be lengthy, and I may talk a lot while working on these projects at the same time, only because I have the knowledge to offer that can help benefit your workflow in the long run. So without further ado, let's get started. One of my favorite anime shows to watch is Dragon Ball Z, also currently known as Dragon Ball Super. Now during the Z Saga, Saiyans from planet Vegeta would travel from planet to planet in a Saiyan space pod. I couldn't really find a 3D model of the space pod online, so I decided to build one in 3ds Max and exported the file as an OBJ. It's not extremely detailed like I wanted it to be, but I made it detailed enough for live action footage. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're gonna make. The cool thing about this space pod is you can even open the pod door to see the inside. Best part about this model, it's 100% free for download, so you can follow along. Also in the description are a few files such as the Earth with no background that I put together, stars, and a haze image for overlay. Let's start things off by creating a new composition, 1920 by 800 at 23.976 frames per second, and we're going to make it 8 seconds long. And we're going to call this Space Scene. Let's go ahead and click OK. First thing we will make are the stars, in which will be used by VC Orb. Simply create a new solid, and we'll go ahead and make it comp size, and we're going to call it stars. Then we'll click OK. Now in the effects and presets, look for VC Orb. Right now I'm using VX Console. I recommend getting this free plugin as it's extremely quick and easy to apply effects. Let's go ahead and drop our VC Orb effect onto the solid. Next, we will drop our stars 1K image in the composition at the very bottom. Then we'll go ahead and turn the layer off so you can't see it. Now let's head back to our VC Orb layer. We're going to open that up and change the surface from front to back. And in the advanced options, let's go ahead and check the box for unlit only, which lights none of the orb layer. Now let's head down to the Maps tab, and in the Diffuse layer box, we'll choose our stars 1K texture. Okay, so next, let's head to our UV tab, change the UV type from spherical to box. Now here, you can choose how many times you want to repeat the texture of the stars. However, if you add too much repeated X and Y UVs, your texture will begin to look way too repetitive. So for now, I'll just keep mine at 4x4. And once I add color correction to the entire composition, then I'll see if I need to make any corrections. I don't want the stars to be too potent and visible since we're having a little bit of light flare to act as a light source. Last thing to do here on this layer is increase the radius to 20,000 so it looks like we're surrounded by stars. Okay, so next we're going to create a new camera. Make it 35 millimeters. Go ahead and click OK. Now we can move the camera around in 3D space and you can see that we are completely surrounded by the stars. Now, however, with the camera, all we're doing is just wiggling the point of interest for camera shake, and we're just rotating the camera on its Z-axis. The stars are looking just a bit big for me, so I'm going to go ahead and change the UV repeat to 6x6. Alright, now it's time to add the Earth. You can easily find stock footage of the Earth close up with a slight camera pan and orbit around it, but here at the Forge, we're taking VFX to an extreme measure. So I found an image of the Earth close up. Then I took out the background, leaving just the Earth. Let's go ahead and just drop this into the comp. Now we're going to make this into a 3D layer. We will add a light a bit later, so you'll want to be sure to turn the accept lights to off. You can leave the Earth in its current position, but if you animate your space pods into Z space, the model, however, will just go right through the Earth. So what we're going to do is that we're going to push the Earth as far back into Z space. Then we'll go ahead and scale it up. Just be sure to scale it up enough to cover 3/4 of your scene, because we're going to add rotation with the camera. You'd want to be sure you're not leaving any hard cuts in the frame. Now the Earth here is just a bit too round, so I want to make the Earth look just a bit flat, as if the camera we're using has an extremely wide lens up close. So as we scale it out, we'll try not to stretch it out too much to damage any pixels. Okay, so our Earth already has a bit of a haze over the edge, but with the light and flare I'm adding, I want to add more glow to the edge of the Earth. I do this two-step process by creating a new solid, and I'm going to rename it to Earth Haze. Then I'm going to use my color pick tool. I'm going to find a nice sky blue color for the haze. Let's go ahead and click OK. And for now, I'll go ahead and hide this layer, then make the haze layer into a 3D layer. Now, I can see the position of the Earth on its Z-axis is at around 9,000. So I want to use that as a guide to push the haze into 3D space, so the haze can stay connected with the Earth. So I'll type in, let's say, about 9420. Then I'll go ahead and scale the haze up to fill the screen. Now I'm going to switch to the top view and see exactly where the haze layer and Earth layer are located. Now from here, I'm just going to push the haze layer forward just a bit so there's no clipping if the two are touching one another. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the haze layer, because this is going to be the dark blue halo over the Earth. I'm going to go ahead and drop that duplicated layer below the Earth, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to push it back just a bit further into Z space, just behind the Earth. Now we'll go back to the active camera and shut both haze layers off. With the top haze layer selected and still hidden, I'm going to go ahead and draw a mask over the edge of the Earth. Now I'll turn my haze layer back on. I'm going to hide the mask and change the transfer mode to, let's go for add. I'm going to feather the mask to blend with the edge of the Earth and use the expansion to shrink it down just a bit. Now you don't want to blow out the Earth with exposure, so you want to make sure you want to make it as subtle as possible. Alright, now I'm going to turn on the other haze layer. We're going to go to settings here. Right here I'm going to change the color to more of a dark blue so we can blend in with the background. Let's go ahead and rename this layer to Earth Haze. Let's go for blue. Now I'm going to take the mask from the first haze layer. I'm going to go ahead and copy it with Control-C. And then I'm going to paste this mask in the Earth Haze blue layer, and we're going to make small adjustments to it. So I'm going to move it up a bit. I'm going to go ahead and feather this out just a bit more. Alright, so far so good. Now, when it comes to vibrant colors, you can set the bits per channel to 32 to help boost the blues out a bit more. That's actually what I did with the original clip. However, since I'm recording this process, I don't want to slow the computer down. Alright, let's go ahead and save our work for now. And stick around for part 2 as we add some custom optical flares, camera animation. This is John for the VideoForge.net, and thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you soon.